Welcome to the second installment of 10-Minute Tech Tool Tuesday. Today we are talking about Plickers. Plickers is a great formative assessment tool, a way to get quick checks for understanding. All it requires is an app and the QR codes that you'll print off from the website. Each QR code has a number, and then it also has a letter at the top, and that is how the student indicates their correct answer. So you'll assign the student the number, and then, like I said, they indicate their answer by holding the card a certain way. For younger learners, I would probably write on the back of the card the correct answers so you know that it is truly that they missed the question and it's not that they were holding their card incorrectly. So this is a 10-minute Tech Tool Tuesday, so I'm going to go ahead and set the timer on my phone for 10 minutes. So the first thing we want to do is we want to sign up for an account. Just like the other programs I've shown, I'm going to go ahead and sign in with my Waco ISD credentials. So again, this is how you sign in with your username being your email address and your password. So I'm going to go ahead and hide myself for just a moment. You can see I've used this quite a bit. What you'll do is you create folders, and in those folders go your questions or your question sets. So the first thing you'll want to do is you'll want to start with a new folder. And I'm going to continue with the Disney Trivia. So I'm going to call this Disney Trivia 2. And I'm going to create the folder. So now I'm going to go into the folder, and I'm going to create a new question set in this folder. And I'm going to name this question set, again, Disney Trivia 2, so that all of the questions are tied together. So for time's sake, I did pre-type a few of the questions. So I'm going to copy and paste the text here. Now what's neat is, again, you could insert an image. So maybe if you had a picture of Simba, you could put the picture in instead and ask which character or which movie is this from. This is nice if you're studying process, maybe the water cycle or the rotations of the Earth or phases of the Moon. The image could show again what part is being displayed. So again, it's really nice that they've got that feature now to bring in images. So I'm going to go ahead and type some multiple choice answers here. And of course, the Lion King is our correct answer. So to indicate that that's correct, you click the letter beside the text. Now, you can use this for true, false, or multiple choice questions. If you wanted to, like I said, use it for true, false, you would always click on the X to get rid of those other options for answers. If you wanted to only have 3 choices, again, you would click on the X to take one of those choices away. I want this to be graded, so again, I can see how well they're doing with the concepts I'm teaching. So I'm going to go ahead and click and add another question to my set. And again, same thing, I'm going to just stick with the same answers. Okay, so again, D is our answer, so I want to make sure I mark that correctly. And let me do one more question. Okay, and Bambi is correct. So now I've created my folder. I've created questions in my folder. Now I want to make sure I assign them to the correct class. So the easiest thing is to add your class. You can see maybe I'm a secondary teacher, so I've got a first period class, a third period, a fourth period class. Maybe I'm an elementary school teacher, so I've got a third grade class. It's very simple to add a class. You just click Add Class. I could say Montai, fifth period. And now it's going to ask me for which students. Oh, I'm sorry. Now I'm going to click on the fifth period and I'm going to say add students, and it's going to say which students are in your class. This is where you could copy and paste from your roster in Teams, or you could just simply type the students' names in. So maybe I've got Mr. Griffin, Sarah Scott, Paul Mock, Jennifer Bost. Maybe I've got Patrick Upmore. Patrick. And maybe I've got Dr. Polinsky in there as well. I'm going to go ahead and hit next. And now you'll see the number is assigned to the student. So each time you distribute the Plickers cards, you want to make sure that Patrick Upmore gets card number 5, that Dr. Glinsky gets card number 6. So I'm going to go ahead and say done. So now I've added students. I've set up my questions. So now it's actually time to engage. So I'm going to go into my folder. And you can preview all of the questions that are in your question set by clicking on the arrows, or if you hit play, it'll play through them very quickly. But I see all 3 of my questions there. So I'm going to go ahead and say add to the queue. Now it's going to ask you, okay, well, which class do you want to play? For today's purposes, I'm going to choose demo class. Okay, so now I'm going to actually go to now playing. And I'm actually going to close this screen. I'm going to pull up my camera so you can see how this is going to work. So actually, let me go back. Let me make sure I've got the right thing queued up. Add to queue, demo class. Okay, yep, it's ready. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. I'm going to launch it on my app. Demo class. I'm going to go to my library. Going to go to my Disney trivia. And now we are going to play the set. So now, give it just a moment, and it will say Simba is a character from which Disney movie. So I'm going to go ahead and hide myself for a moment. So you see your answer choices there. Now you have some neat display options. You can show the student list. You can show you can show by their name. You can show by their card number. You can hide their responses. You can hide their card number. So there are some customizable options there. For the display options, you can have it show the graph. You can have it show incorrect or correct. You could have it show as a check or a cross or show the correct letter. So there's some things you can toggle off and on. You can also make it full screen. You can minimize, or you can hide this altogether. If this is distracting, sometimes students get very competitive, and so you might want to hide that on the side. So I'm going to go ahead, and I know you can't quite see this, but on my iPad there's a button at the bottom that says start, and it goes into a camera mode. So now I'm going to scan the room, and you'll see that number demo 11 has answered. So that's a good way to motivate students to say, hey, we're still waiting on demo 20, or we're still waiting on demo 28 to answer. Once they've all answered, you go ahead and stop the question here. And I know you can't see this on my iPad. However, I have a graph here of how many students got the question correct, how many students got it incorrect. I can see the responses, and I can even show individual responses as well. So I can see how certain students answered here on my iPad. I'm going to go ahead and put this down. I'm going to come back over here, and you can say reveal answer, and let me hide myself. And so you can see here that the Lion King was the correct answer, and it will show the breakdown of how many answers, how many students answered, how they answered. So it's pretty easy. So after you have played the Plickers activity, you can go to reports, and then you can see your report there. So again, we only did the first question, but you can see how many, and again, this information you can download to a CSV file. You can do all kinds of things with this. And so it'll show you exactly how many students got which questions correct, and it will give you a grade in reports overall. So that is Plickers. Like I said, the best thing to do is to go get started. Download the QR codes. I would print them on cardstock if possible. And like I said, try it out. If you need any help, feel free to reach out to me. Thanks.